What's up, Megabonkers? Welcome to another video with 8 tips to get you started in Megabonk. Now, these tips are not going to get you to that god tier run. You're not going to get millions of kills with these tips. These tips are made to get you moving a little bit closer to that level. You know, those that are not necessarily beginner level, but finding it a little bit difficult to just get over that hump and get those last things unlocked. Let's get started. The first tip we're going to have for this video is you need to be deliberate. Just kidding. Apparently I said that way too many times in my last video. The first step is actually to accept the fact that you are not going to have a god tier run quite yet. It's tempting to go online and see those videos of people that are just melting a million enemies per run and think, oh, that's all I got to do? I just need to get the luck and the XP tome and just max out my weapons and I'll be good to go. The fact of the matter is, if you want to get those god tier runs, or just even make it so much easier for you to be able to finish off the final bosses, you need to have some of those legendary items. You need to have some of those better weapons unlocked, and you need to have some of the better tomes unlocked. With the basic level stuff, it is just way too difficult and pretty much impossible to get to that ultimate level. So if we're not focusing on trying to beat the game or trying to get a god tier run, then what is it that we're trying to do when we play? That's what brings us to tip number 2, which is to use this time to unlock challenges and quests. So there are so many things to unlock in this game, and when you unlock those things, that's what makes you, one, makes you better at the game because you start to, get more practice and start to use different things. 2, that's what actually gives you those advanced abilities to be able to go faster, kill more enemies than you usually would, maybe upgrade a little bit quicker, stuff like that. So tip number 2 is to use this time to unlock challenges and quests. It's probably one of the funnest parts of the game for me personally. I like a game where I have all kinds of unlocks and I get to kind of grind my way through it. So now's the perfect time for that. Once you start getting those unlocks, that's what takes us to tip number 3, which is to really start to focus more on the items. So you will naturally start to unlock items as you complete those challenges and quests. But now's the time to actually learn what the items do. I suggest going on YouTube and checking out some videos. There are a lot of Megabonk videos out there. Some specifically break down every item and exactly what it does and how those percentages affect your gameplay. Some of them seem like they would have a huge impact on gameplay, but they really don't. And some of them seem like they're not that big of a deal of an item when actually they're huge when it comes to trying to advance, especially in early levels. So when you're unlocking those items, learn what they do, how to use them, and how big of an impact they will have on your gameplay at early levels and later levels. Now in this video, I'm not really going to get into details on what all the items do and which ones are better than others, or the tomes or the weapons. But one thing that I will say for tip number 4 is you need to use the toggler. Learn to use the toggler and figure out which items, tomes, weapons you need to turn off or on in order to help you complete those challenges. If you have way too much turned on, then it's going to be hard to actually get those tomes that you're trying to max out or get to level 10 or 12 or whatever. Same thing with the weapons and the items. So learn to use the toggler. As soon as you unlock that thing, start using it, and it will help you a great deal when it comes to completing those challenges. Tip number 5 is don't be afraid to adjust what your plan is for that run, or even start over completely if you need to. I can't tell you how many runs I've started. Maybe I'm trying to get my knockback tome to 10 or my luck tome to 12. And when I start, I just am not getting that tome at all. So I got to change. I don't want to just play through the rest of that round knowing that there's no way that I'm going to meet that goal. So if I plan on getting my luck tome to 12 that round, but I get the knockback tome right away and I'm not getting the luck, then maybe I switch it to that goal. Or maybe I just say, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to try to win, or I'm going to try to get as many kills as I can with the sword, or whatever other goals that are still available for you. Like I said, don't get too committed on whatever the goal is for that round, because you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. Don't be afraid to switch your goal or completely start over if you need to. Tip number 6 is to really give everything a solid try. You'd be surprised what weapons you think would suck but once you actually level them up and you start using them a lot, they really are better than you originally thought. The same thing applies to tomes and maybe even some items. Maybe it's when you really get that projectile count up there, or the damage that the weapon does, or even the cooldown time on that weapon. Once you start to change how the weapon operates and what the damage is that it actually puts out, you'd be surprised what weapons you thought sucked that actually end up dominating and taking you to the later game. Tip number 7 is that if something is overly difficult, move on and go back to it later. I remember the first time I got to the boss of the second forest level, I think his name is Chad Bark. I would stand right in front of him and just throw everything I had at him for what seemed like the entire 8 minutes or whatever was left of that round after I unlocked him, and I wouldn't even take him down 50% damage. I literally would just throw everything I had at him and wouldn't even come close. I would even try building up everything and try to unlock them when they only had about 4 minutes left of that round. Still, not even close. I just didn't have the weapons, I didn't have the tomes, I didn't have the experience yet to be able to really put a damage on them. Now later, once I started unlocking weapons, I think it was really when I got like the wireless dagger or something like that, that when I went back, I ended up defeating them no problem at all. So if you're trying to do something and you just can't do it, whether it's trying to, get the bloody tome to level whatever, or you're trying to defeat a certain boss and you're just not even coming close, switch your strategy, try to unlock some more tomes, unlock some better weapons, get some better skills in general, and then go back later. You'll be surprised how much easier a certain boss or a certain challenge will actually be once you have leveled up to a certain point. My 8th and final tip of the video is to take note of what works for you. I mentioned in my last video that you should kind of learn your play style and play to how you like to play. Well, as you start to unlock things, you start to get better and better at this game. That rule is going to apply even more. If there was a goal you were trying to achieve, maybe a certain boss that you were struggling to beat, and then you finally beat them, take note of what weapons you used, what tomes you used, and overall what strategy you used. Did you go full defense and just try to use shields and try not to die? Or did you go full offense and just build up as many projectiles as you could? Whatever worked for you during that run is most likely how you like to play. It's most likely your best strategy moving forward when you want to make it to the later rounds. So that does it for my video on 8 more tips to get better at Megabonk. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning into my videos. I really appreciate the support, the comments, the likes, everything. I'm still really new at making these videos in case you guys haven't noticed, but I really enjoy doing it. It's kind of a hobby of mine. I like video games. I like sharing what I learned of these video games with everyone else. So I appreciate all the support and all the feedback. Tune in for more. Like, comment, subscribe. I look forward to making more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.